I don't even have an introduction for this. I don't. Um, obviously, obviously, and I know there are going to be those who religiously will side with the police, right, wrong, or indifferent. And no matter what rational reasoning, uh, logic, evidence, facts to say, hey, you know what, they were wrong, it doesn't matter. There will always be some justifiable excuse to put the cops in the right and the person who they extinguished out of existence in the wrong. And the it's sad when you have to make a simplified analogy where it seems like the behaviors of law enforcement and the excuses that they give or the reasoning behind their actions is that of a child who got caught with their hands in a cookie jar or done accidentally broke something or whatever. They'll straight up lie to cover their own ass. To put, say, this. It was the bottle's fault for being right there. That's why I had to smack it and it fell on the floor. It was the bottle's fault. Obviously, where I'm going with this, there was another police shooting in Ohio. Go figure. You start when a lot of these stories come out. When a lot of these stories come out, it's always a deputy sheriff or something like that in these little areas and particular demographics that you find that this is what they do and who they target. Unjustifiably. The person in this case was Casey Goodson. Okay. He was shot and killed by an Ohio deputy variant SWAT. Um, he the story was that uh, and I'm gonna apply sarcasm to the rhetoric. Um, it was said that this young individual, this young man, uh, drove by the police waving a gun because he was that bold, that ignorant, that stupid to do such a thing. Um, upon arriving to his house, he got up. He got out the car, put the key in the door, and at that time, that's when he was fatally shot by this particular deputy. They said he that he was given orders to put the gun down or whatever. Now you know many of black people make jokes with sarcasm in reference to how police perceive things as a threat. Well, I guess miraculously this particular officer or officers or whatever uh didn't know the difference between Subway sandwiches and a firearm because that's what he had in his possession because he had just came from a dentist appointment, stopped to get Subway grinders, and was bringing them home to the family. So I guess upon having a key in his hand to put in the door and Subway sandwiches, the cops was like, "Oh, assault with a deadly sandwich." Now, ironically, before even hearing the story, I was watching a trailer to a new Spike Lee movie called American Skin. And I had said, well, I had gave it an inkling. I had made a suggestion or foreshadowing. I said it's gonna come to a point where where the solution is going to be retaliation. Retaliation against law enforcement. Now, I'm going to put a link in the description to the trailer of American Skin because it's going to come to a point where parents are going to get sick and tired of losing their children at the hands of law enforcement with no consequences based on qualified immunity. And Jim Crow Joe said, "Oh no, nah, we're not doing away with qualified immunity." So while law enforcement are given a pass to be reckless and irresponsible, to do whatever at our expense, at our expense. And I know, unfortunately, yes, this is another incident where it puts a spotlight on a person of color. But don't get me wrong, just because um, you got the spotlight on incidences like this, uh, it's an issue going across the board, no matter what color, race, or gender you are. I know the protocol or how it's going to be is that they're going to look into this person's background, but well, so far what I've come to know is he did have a license to carry. He wasn't a person that got into any trouble, and it's just another one of those situations where I'm gonna say it again. We are dealing with domestic terrorism, and the terrorist just so happens to be the police against the citizens. But of course, people don't want to hear that because they rather it be that, hey, I'm okay with a false sense of security. People say, hey, you know, uh, all this protesting and marching and stuff, yeah, it gets people's attention, but there's no follow through with it. Um, People don't know how to utilize their power as people. The mentality that we had years ago when people were united to fight for a cause against injustices, they were more structured. They had strategies. They knew how to affect a system, a government, or whatever. Now, people are in fear of losing something they don't have to begin with. I'm done.